Kelsey, I have a question about something else first. Recently, you directed an episode of Frasier, a great dance number, overhead camera looking down. Very gratifying for you to do that?
Yeah, I had a ball. I've been doing a three-camera show, they call them, for so long now. It was always something I toyed with that I didn't want to do until it was almost a no-brainer in some ways. I still found it challenging, but I finally felt like I was equipped to do it with ease and with some flavor as well, and I felt very good about it.
When I was reading your book, I was fascinated to find out that Crane was not the initial last name of Frasier. Now, how did that
Frasier
evolve?
Nye. Well, it always reminded me of Louis Nye, and I thought, well, I'm not related to Louis Nye, so I thought, and Nye is not the kind of name that would reflect my genealogy, and so I said, something more waspy, certainly, more preppy-like, and they came up with Crane.
There's a saying people have, well, the chances of that happening are about as great as you getting hit by lightning. I did not know that you were one of those people who actually was
been hit by lightning. Yeah, I know. That's an interesting story. So, frankly, I've been really beating the odds a lot, haven't I? Yeah, the lightning was funny. It came at a very funny time in my life. I do talk about it in the book, but at a time when my days were probably their darkest, that came as I took it as a sign that things were going to turn around, and they did.
Your first reaction to seeing the mothball fleet?
Well, it's kind of sad in some ways, but it's also very dramatic. It conjures up so many vibrant images of war and commitment and duty and patriotism. It was an incredible backdrop for the movie. But the 3.5 weeks we spent out there on that barge, sitting in the middle of that mothball fleet, there were just so many ghosts there with us that I think were pleased, and it just fed my sense of resonance about the experience. It was like I had some backup in a weird way that was, pulling for me.
It was a great shot when you're in the conning tower of the submarine and it's being
a lot of people have mentioned it.
Yeah.
It was a great shot to do.
Well, how did you feel when you were on top of there? What was going through your mind?
Just all those images. You get flooded with images of the history of that experience. The Maritime Museum actually sent me a picture with a real nice letter about being the commander of the 7th Patrol on the Pompano, and how I'd always be welcomed on the boat. And it was a shot of the Pompano, which we named the Stingray in the film, going through the Golden Gate Bridge. And it could have been taken 50 years ago. And it pulls so much on my heartstrings. I have a great identification with the sacrifices and the commitment of the men and women that served during World War II, and it was kind of like an homage, paying homage to these people in a weird way for me as well.
I love the scene where the crew is singing Louie Louie. Now, tell me, do you really now know the lyrics to that song?
I've been told I know the lyrics, but I swear to God, those aren't the ones I remember.
Okay, and another great musical number, the music video with the Village People.
Yeah.
When did that idea come about, and how jazzed were you doing that?
What's so funny is I remember in the middle of the summer, sitting in my truck, I've got a really cool stereo in my truck, and putting on the Village People and listening to In the Navy and just thinking how fun it would be if that was somehow incorporated into this thing. And then I guess marketing came up with the same idea in January and said, let's go shoot this thing. It wasn't originally planned to be at the end of the credits. It was going to be like a push for advertising, really. But then it just seemed like such a perfect ending to the film, sort of an uplifting, in keeping with the spirit of the film.
Now, the scenes that were shot at the studio, when you were walking around in your uniform, how many second glances, how many jokes were you getting from people who work on the lot?
Actually, I don't remember people joking with me a lot. I would think they were all thought it looked pretty cool. You know, we were doing a big military thing. You know, we'd be sitting in the commissary eating, a bunch of guys in uniform. You know, it felt like we were probably just at the mess.